Louisiana beer reviews. Copper Bell Lager beer, traditional old style brew. This beer was introduced in 2011. It's brewed in Rochester, New York, at the North American Brewery, Genesee Brewery. And it's a contract brew. It's a store brand beer, actually. It's brewed for Whole Foods market. Has an average rating on Beer Advocate, only 11 reviews, and it gets an 11 out of 100 on Rate Beer with just a few reviews, but it gets a 76 out of 100 for the style. So it gets a pretty high rating for the style. It has 4.5% alcohol and a 12 IBU bitterness rating. Uses 6-row barley malt and Zeus hops. I don't know what that is, but 6-row barley malt and Zeus hops, just inexpensive ingredients, I'm sure. I checked on the Winery Exchange website. Winery Exchange owns all these brands, and there are 7 different beers that have the exact same specifications: 4.5% alcohol, 12 IBU, and so on down the nutrition line. So all it is really is it's the same beer in different cans, and they're produced for different stores. Okay, it's just a store brand. It's the same exact beer as this. Okay, these are the same product. This is made for Walgreens. This is for Whole Foods, and it's sold for about $8, $7 or $8 a 12-pack. It's relatively inexpensive, about $2.99 a 6-pack. They also make a light version of this and the Big Flats, 1901. I've never had this, but actually I have had it because I bought a 6-pack of the Big Flats last year, or earlier this year. Okay, got a good amount of smoke. So in a way, this is a revisit of the Big Flats. You have a thick white head, and well, I was gonna say clear because you would expect it to be clear, and it is, mostly clear. But I've got the sun there shining through this, and when you look at this, you can see a whole lot of very tiny particulate matter floating in there. So there's a lot of little minuscule specks floating about. I don't know what that is. Anyway, the head is foamy. This reminds me so much of Genesee beer, and it may be the same thing as that, the regular Genesee beer. Okay, so let's go with the smell test. You get that strong grain aroma, that wet hay. That wet hay sweetness is not as pronounced as the Dog Bite High Gravity, which is almost nauseating in its aroma. But Dog Bite is made by the same people, the North American breweries in Rochester, New York. But you do have that sweetness. So it's okay, not the greatest aroma. Let's go with the taste. It's watery, and it's a standard, it's a standard beer flavor. It's sort of like you can go to the grocery store and get the store brand cola, and it's okay. It's inferior to Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and this is the same type thing. It's similar to Old Milwaukee, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Schlitz, Red Dog, Miller High Life, Busch, but it's not up to that standard. I know the former Krull, the grill master, said it's very comparable to Busch in his opinion. It is, as far, Busch is 4.6% alcohol and this is 4.5%, but I think Busch is much more well crafted and much more pleasant to drink, and it's just higher quality. But like the former Crow the Grill Master said, if you're on a budget, you can't afford a lot. You can't pay a lot for beer, and you just want to drink beer, and you're not too big into the intricacies of the taste, and you just want to have a beer while you're barbecuing or eating fried seafood or boiled seafood, something like that, or a muffalata sandwich. It's fine. I mean, a lot of people are not out there set up with a whole lot of money to spend on beer, and if you could find this for $2.99 a six pack, I can't see that it would be a problem. Maybe even $3.50 a six pack, but I couldn't see paying more than that for it. It is an inferior product, but there's a place for it. It's budget store brand beers. I'll go ahead and give it a C. It's average. You do have a decent amount of lacing and a decent head. I mean, I gave the Keystone Premium below average because the head just didn't exist and just wasn't much at all to it. This does have some body, some bite, even though it's mostly light and watery. The finish is crisp, clean, refreshing, fairly refreshing. It's mostly dry. It's tolerable, I'll say. It's not something I would particularly want to get, but I would not recommend it. But if you're tight on the money, yeah, okay, I'll recommend it for that. But that's about the only thing I'd recommend it for, just budget purchasing. So I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans and go to the LSU football game.